All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Hajime no Ippo, Season 3, Episode 7. Aoki
tied.
Yeah, he didn't win, but he did win. He won in our hearts.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and you know, that sucks that you didn't actually get the belt.
Yeah.
But, you know...
You would have had, like, all that swagger that you would have been able to walk back to Kamogawa Gym with.
That's right.
In addition to what you do already walk in with, because you're like, what up, guys? I actually have a girl who's in love with me.
Exactly. What do you all have? Belts?
All right. A girl who you don't know is in love with you and will never do anything with.
And other things, you know, that are of the legal variety, probably. Takamura. So,
yeah, well, I wasn't talking about Takamura.
No, I know. Yeah. But... you know, that's done. So now into the next segment of the story. I'm guessing it's going to be a bit more serious than this last arc was. I could be wrong.
I think there's potential for that, but as long as Takamura exists, and especially Itagakimasa's father,
yes,
nothing will stay serious.
Nothing is truly safe.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Nothing at all.
Well, let's do this then.
Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Well,
all right. Well,
okay.
That's
an antagonist right there.
And the transition into the next segment of the story.
Yep.
Aoki has come back. He is not retiring, which I'm glad to see, but he is also going to be taking up more of a sensei role where he'll be teaching two hopefuls how to learn the ropes of boxing.
With very exaggerated character designs, stretched in different directions. And also not really seemingly wanting to actually be boxers, wanting more of the association and the idea of being boxers because...
we don't know what...
Not necessarily, but they did that whole thing of that smells like, you know, like a victory without trying, you know.
I think that was basically them because they had heard Takamura basically's press conference, and they were just believing in Takamura's ability to do it.
That could totally be
I feel like that's a bit of an early judging of their characters.
Potentially.
The main thing that I would judge them on and kind of agree with you with is that they don't seem like characters yet.
Definitely
they seem like
not,
jokes, and it's kind of unfortunate that sometimes in anime you can tell based on the character design that a character isn't going to be taken seriously.
Even Yamada, like, back at his introduction, he was kind of the butt of a lot of jokes, but
his character design was unique. The actual thing that makes this tricky is that those two look almost exactly the same, but one is stretched one way and one is stretched the other.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll just have to wait and see on. But Sawamura, not Daichi. This is Sawamura Ryuhei.
And he gives Brian Hawk a run for his money as far as just how awful he is.
Like, remember Mashiba, and we thought he was like kind of just a bully?
I think we even said he was cartoonishly like evil, you know, with how he was introduced.
He's not evil.
No, he was just like had an overly like chip on his shoulder kind of a thing.
Right, yeah.
This guy
has issues.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Like, if you have something like boxing, there would be at least a few of these types, and he's just the more extreme version of that. Like, where even he's like, I believe he was threatening his own coach. You know, of like, you better not like, you know, do anything to get in my way, even though I'm doing stuff like this, because you know, otherwise I'll have to, you know, remove the obstacle.
Yeah, like, the way he came back to the gym, even though he had been kicked from there. And basically said, you'd done the stuff, right? You sent the invitations.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing of where it's like, wait a minute, how do these invitation things even work if he's kicked out of his gym?
Well, I think
he needs someone else in order to actually send the invitation. Does he not have his own ability to be an independent boxer or something?
Well, I'm guessing you can't really, like, that just doesn't really work very well. But since they said he was suspended, I'm guessing that's something that is
temporary.
It's temporary and it's since ended. So that was something that happened in the past to deal with the situation.
I don't feel like that's what they said though. Well, based on what I remember,
because they
don't
said
think it was a thing of where it was actually like a limited amount of time.
Well, suspensions are limited.
No, I know, but I don't know if they use the word suspension. When did they use that word?
When they mentioned blah 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 caused by the same foul. He avoided total banishment because his own gym decided to suspend him. So, yeah. Right, so the boxing organization would have basically kicked him out, but the gym kind of said, we don't condone this behavior, etc. Right. We will punish him and reprimand him ourselves. So you don't necessarily need to, this shouldn't happen again, kind of a thing.
So maybe that's why his boxing career is actually a little bit short, is that he's not actually been, able to box, the entire time.
Yes,
for a good portion of time he was suspended.
And that also, it also brings up his temperament answers a good question of, if Ippo's defended his title 4 times now, how do you make it so that someone challenges him and we're actually supposed to take them seriously? Because he's a solid champion by this point. Kamigawa said as much.
Right.
But, there are all these people that are like, hey, the Dempsey roll is full of holes, we can take you down. Mm-hmm. But the results we've seen say otherwise, right?
No, he almost got taken down by Shimabukuro.
Yes, there are definitely things that he needs to work on, but as far as in an absolute sense, so far he's done a great job defending his title.
Right, but the Shimabukuro incident was basically a coin flip in that regard. It was something where he got a little lucky.
But in this case, it's something where we basically are saying, here's a boxer that is really, really good and has legitimate reasons as far as why they aren't the champion already. Right?
Well,
because they do so many things that make them, either lose matches or not win by KOs or things like that, so they wouldn't rise to the top quite as much as they maybe could if they played by the rules.
Right. He has 2 losses.
Yeah,
Ippo
exactly.
only has 1.
Yep.
Like, that's just...
That, the numbers end up probably making it also, so that his... Yeah.
Right. Also, Ippo has way more wins than this guy does as well.
Right.
Like, at this point, Ippo's career looks good from a numbers standpoint.
Exactly.
9-2 is a 4-to-1, 4.25 to 1 ratio. It's
right.
It's kind of mediocre. Like, it's like, okay, yeah.
It's like you're a good boxer. You're a great boxer, maybe.
Yeah, but if you had maybe 3 more wins under your belt here, this would look a lot better.
Sure.
But 2 losses as a pro boxer means that there's something wrong.
Right. And yet
there's something a little bit off here.
Right. And yet because the matches were lost not because of his own boxing capability, but because of his personality and his decisions, that means that he can still be a challenger that has the kind of record that we would expect from a champion.
Exactly.
So,
and be someone that is terrifying regardless of whether they win or lose.
Yes.
Because... or winning or losing in the middle of a match. One of the things that they brought up here to mirror that was Kamigawa saying, it actually doesn't really matter, even if he loses, it'll be a good way for him to rebound back from that and get something from that. And the idea, though, that, whoa, wait a minute. Are we sure we want Ippo facing this guy and losing? Mm-hmm. Because losing to this guy is not just a thing of where he could end up, getting like made fun of and humiliated as he, toys with him for like 4 rounds, which I actually think is going to happen.
Well,
that's my prediction, is that he'll toy with him and that'll be the reason why Ippo wins.
Yes.
But Ippo is actually the kind of person that is very liable to piss off a very serious boxer just by the fact that he's so...
Oh yeah, they're absolute oil and water. They're completely different entities. They think about things completely differently. If anything, I would be more worried about if Ippo wins the match. Because of him trying to take out Ippo's eye or something like that. Right. Like that's So
that would actually be a really freaky thing to have with Ippo, is to give him basically a loss, but he wins it. It's a win on his record. Where Ippo gets put out of commission for like a year.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a thing of where it's like, okay, Ippo, like you can't just fight anyone now. You have to be more careful, or you have to guard this spot on your face now because it's now sensitive to like any future punches.
Or maybe then, other boxers are like, okay, we need to avenge Ippo, kind of, that are friends of Ippo's, like maybe Sendo, and then it's the thing of, oh no, is Sendo going to get taken out by this guy, or will he actually manage to like bring the pain? Because usually that kind of stuff, like with Mashiba and
Kimura.
Right. Well, Mashiba and Kimura, but Mashiba and Frick, senpai, rosy eyes. That Ippo, Miyata. That's my god, I can't believe I forgot that. But back in the beginning of the show, where he fought dirty and took out Miyata, then Ippo comes in and he's the I must avenge my friend, right?
Gotcha.
But if they did I don't think they'll do a reversal like that, because that'd be a pretty crazy dark turn for Ippo as a character in a show and everything.
I don't think they need
he got
to do
took
that
out
now.
like that.
He's the champion. He doesn't need to even experience other matches and lead ups to him. He is the final match for all these challengers. So to them, it's just okay, I'm going to study him. I'm going to train like a madman. And then once I'm coming into this fight, I'm going to be ready with some kind of game plan.
Right.
And then Ippo just needs to hold to his guns and do what he does best. However, I really love the idea that they continue to hammer at the Dempsey role and be like, no, it's not that good.
Yep.
It's actually a crutch that you're relying on.
Right. Well, and when they mentioned the whole thing of being a cheese champion, I wasn't thinking Swiss cheese originally.
Same.
I was thinking you're someone playing a game and you have a really powerful ability, so you just sort of cheese. So you just spam that move and you cheese your way through, right?
Because, Smash Bros. Basically.
Right. Yeah.
It's like
just hit the C stick, or whatever, right?
Right. Or there's like certain things where you just like, I have a special ice climber grapple, switch thing, and you're like, okay, this needs to be banned. Like this.
Right.
Like, it's not even that good, but it's just the fact that it works. It shouldn't work.
Yep. So then all the other people that are like, no, we have the technical skills on like all the different levels.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be able to take you out. Right. It makes things very lively for Ippo as a champion, because there are all these people chomping at the bit with good reason to believe that they can beat him, and things that they can teach Ippo by facing him, so that the defending matches that he does need to have before he goes on to the next stage don't feel like they're just sort of a waste of time.
Yeah. One of the things that I just realized, we didn't really get that much hard characterization with regards to the why of Sawamura here. But we did, actually. There was one thing that I'm thinking back on this episode that stood out a little bit as odd, given what we ended up finding out about his personality later, is that he came to Sendo to critique his match.
Oh, now, that's a good point. I would just
say that personally, based on this guy's demeanor, this is actually him trying to be helpful.
Right.
But then the next part happens here. Sawamura is introduced to Makunouchi, Ippo, and then they have this little moment, and he walks up to him. He's so intimidating, right? And Ippo does the little, domo,
right.
And he goes up to shake his hand, and he basically gives the, like, what is this? Like,
right.
The look of like,
this is the champion. Are you kidding me?
Is this who I'm supposed to be challenging? Wanting to fight?
Yeah, and not just fight, but fight aspirationally. Like, I need to beat this guy and take him off his high horse.
Right. I've always wanted a title match. Like,
right.
Oh yeah.
This is what I get.
Right.
You're really.
But then his response isn't something that shows any emotion. He just kind of looks at it like, and he looks so even despite his scary appearance. And then he goes, I won't shake hands because I don't wish to sympathize with those I take the belt from.
Yeah,
Now, what we just kind of painted a picture of this guy is that he's evil.
Right. But he definitely doesn't sympathize.
Right, but he would be forced to sympathize?
Right.
Wait a minute.
Is this like a respect among warriors kind of a thing? Or like...
is it something else? Because the idea that he would sympathize with someone just by handshaking with them, that feels very forced. Like, you're like, I must force myself to adopt this cold, harsh,
that's
animalistic, like, veneer, this presence or what have you. So, where does the animal, basically the Wolverine, begin, and the man?
Right.
Where do they meet?
Well, and with his introduction here, because this is the first time we see him, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't too surprised by that. I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. I sort of get that. It's a bit extreme, but it makes sense to me because it's I want to keep the aggression up, right? So there's an element of that feels like almost weirdly professional, even if it's impolite, right?
Right.
But then with the stuff that we see later, he's anything but professional.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, so where does this come from?
Oh, you know what I just realized?
What?
The reason why his voice actor is Kaiki. Mm-hmm. He's a goddamn vampire. Like,
well, yeah, like, and I'm not 100% sure it's Kaiki, but I'm pretty sure it's Kaiki.
I'm pretty sure.
And yeah, too. the hair and the everything. I just realized
it's not Wolverine at all. It's a vampire. Yeah.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Whoa. So that's the whole purple energy of like just gloom.
Sure.
It's the dread lord essentially of someone that is going to sap you of all your will, energy, strength, and everything to go on.
Well, he even licked the blood off of his hand.
Yeah, you're right. It's a vampire aesthetic.
Like,
I can't believe
it works.
Wolverine.
It works great. No, I mean it's a very similar-ish kind of thing as far as the hair goes and the eyebrows and everything. Yeah. But like I'm excited for this fight, right? I didn't think after Shimabukuro, I didn't think I would actually really get excited for many other like Ippo like challenge
defending matches.
Like defending matches. I was like, okay, this is sort of the last one, maybe a slightly unfortunate manga like adaptation.
Maybe a lot of sparring where he's basically like, trying to build up towards Miyata.
Right, and that's what I figured.
And then he goes out to the world stage or something.
Exactly, and that's what I figured was part of the purpose for showing like Aoki's match, for instance, is because hey, since if Ippo does have more defending title matches, we're not going to show those, right? Because those don't, Ippo knows the Dempsey role needs to be worked on, right?
So we're like Sendo's.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can see Aoki, we can see Sendo and things like that, and then we know that there's where Ippo needs to go, and then we can see him work to get there as back to that underdog stage, right? Mm-hmm. But this one, no, I think. And who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll end up being wrong, and there's another defending title match after this. But if this is the sort of final one before Ippo truly moves on to the more of the world stage type stuff,
Jacob, remember the manga's like 1,000 chapters long. Or
that's
something
true.
Like that, or
that's
1,200
true.
Chapters.
They could always
long.
just have him end up like moving up to a higher weight class or something.
I think
way down the line. I don't know.
That if anything, this is just another rock in the river of like Ippo's momentum.
Sure.
And that this guy will basically say, no, I'm serious. Your Dempsey role is
garbage.
A crutch.
Yeah.
It is pathetic. And
it's off meta.
Yeah.
You surprise some people with it, but it's no.
But, yeah, anyone that is worth their salt, basically.
Right.
Like,
since you're the champion, you are the meta now, and
you'll come to realize that you can't change the meta.
Right.
That existed long before you and exists long after you. Now, boxing does evolve over the years. Like, seriously, boxers nowadays know a lot of things that boxers, 25 years ago did not know.
And that's the problem with Ippo, because his move is one that's like, 50 plus years old. So,
So it's causing a ruckus, but I think it's regarding a lot of things that work with Ippo's body and then his peekaboo style that make it just work really well. Yeah. But I would love to have this guy be the guardian at the gate of the world stage, to where he's like, this is what it looks like. You better get good, Ippo, because this is something that you're not fully ready for.
Yeah, because not only is this guy really good, and granted, he is number 3, so theoretically
he's on the rise, basically.
Right. Well, and theoretically there could be another one past him. Like, oh yeah, he was good, but there's still the number 2, or something like that.
Right. But once you get up to like, and based on how the show's done this thus far, basically once you get into like the top 5, it's all just basically, those are all champion challengers. They're all basically just there in different levels based on who they fought. It's not based on their personal skill ranking, because that's not how the boxing puts them into the ranks. It's who fought who. So based on your win-loss percentage,
it won't necessarily be exact. Yeah.
Right. So the second place person could just not be as good as him because he might have a better record and fought better boxers. But this guy technically is 11-0. Like, actually, in terms of the fight, he's never really lost. He's never been knocked down.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it, because when I was looking at this guy and how he was getting introduced, there was a part of me that's like, okay, he seems similar to Brian Hawk, but I know he's a different person, right? And so maybe I'm imprinting some of Hawk on him, but what if this was coming from a place of, because there's when people knock him in the chin with their elbow or like bump into him on the street or whatever that was, that seems like something where it's a pride thing, right?
Okay. Can I ask a question real quick?
Go for it.
When you say you see him as Brian Hawk, you are literally just talking about his violent tendencies, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
because nothing personality-wise reminds me of Brian Hawk.
Yeah. He is much more reserved and things like that. But the violent tendencies are very much there. So
yeah, this guy has no showmanship in him at all.
Right. Yes.
Like this guy has a negative charisma score.
Yes.
Brian Hawk has a positive one.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, the one place where I would say he does have showmanship is that when it comes to when he was beating the shit out of those people in the alley, that seems like it was something where he's beaten them, right? There's not really much point in doing what he's doing.
They said they would go to the police, dude. That's why he then was like, "Oh, how are you going to go and talk to the police if you can't talk?" And then he broke his mouth.
Well, right. But that was something where they were saying, "Please stop," or we'll go to the police. And then it's just to show you that you have no power here, I will do this and make it so that even if you could go to the police, you can't speak, right?
Yeah, but
that in my mind is showmanship, even if it's not to them, to himself of, I don't let anyone mess with me.
I feel like when you're in an alley and they threaten you with basically what you're doing is going to get you into legal trouble, and he basically doesn't say much of anything other than like, okay, then I'll take away your ability to speak, and he just does it. He doesn't build up to it. He doesn't do anything like he has no audience here.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's his own audience.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to wait and see on that
and,
one.
And
I'm not really following.
It might be too fast of a read on it, but you don't I would be surprised if he was just doing that for no reason, right?
Well,
They're I
just gave you a reason though, is that he's doing this because he doesn't want them to go to the police.
No. I'm talking about his approach to these kinds of situations in general, right? Where does that come from? In his psyche, that's
gotcha.
Because he is so cold with regards to Ippo and things like that, and you were too slow, your timing was off, with Sendo, right? But then he's like this. What's where's that come from? We ended up seeing where that came from with Hawk, and that he literally had to fight to survive, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I'm curious what it's going to end up being here. So
yeah. Okay. Cool. Within the context of the fact that all the other people in Ippo's life who are good people to have in his peanut gallery to give him commentary on not only the opponents he's facing, but on his own boxing ability. Having Fuji and Imura show up there at Takamura's place was great.
Yes.
But knowing that Takamura was the one that invited them there, it's like, oh, that's nice of you, Takamura. Knowing that it's a thing of where, Ippo wanted to set this up and brought the initial crew at the gym there, but then Takamura's like, let's, I care about the kid. Let's get some official people in here who can, give us
some extra info.
The hard details and stats and all that. And those two specifically are a fun duo that I like to see more of in the show in general.
Same.
Not just in the comedic sense with Imura from that one episode.
But that definitely doesn't hurt.
Oh, it definitely doesn't hurt.
No.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah. But okay. Sawamura.
Yep, we got our stakes. We got our new antagonist.
Yep.
And Ippo now has a new target, and he's determined.
Right.
He had that little fire in his eye.
He did. His thick eyebrows got furrowed. But will that be enough? Because you still haven't actually evolved the Dempsey role. Not really. So
good luck, Ippo. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, the info's in the description, but for the gaming stuff, Caleb is doing
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, and then I currently am doing Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.